Hi, I'm Ben from Second Dynasty, and we're back again not only with a brand new 3D printable spaceship, but even crew miniatures and our very own deck designer software. Introducing the Sleipnir. Inspired by your favorite hard sci-fi universes, she has no artificial gravity, just a fusion torch to push her through the black between the inner planets and the far reaches of the solar system. Featuring 11 stackable decks of incredible 28mm detail, the Sleipnir is named for Odin's 8-legged steed. She'll get you where you're going, and with fully articulated print-in-place defense cannons, she'll tear pirate vessels to shreds and shoot down any incoming fast movers with ease. She's home to 5 permanent crew members, and as the campaign unfolds, will be introduced to more of their colleagues. All in all, the Sleipnir is our most detailed build yet, but to handle all the modularity and customizability of the ship and our other vessels, we've created Deck Designer, a software suite to make your printing life and ours so much easier. Deck Designer will let you import ship layouts to customize them to your liking, allowing you to plan your build visually and provide handy tools such as file handling and printing lists. Don't worry, it doesn't just work on our stuff, it works on any STL collections on your hard drive. Your funds go straight back into funding new modular options for the ship, new 3D printable miniatures, and of course new features for Deck Designer. On top of that, you also let us keep doing what we love, making awesome spaceships. Hey guys, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. Let me know that you're actually hearing me in the chat. I've got the camera over here, so I can move over there and you can see the ship in the background. We have in front of us Maya today. Actually, this feels a little impersonal. I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer to the center of the screen for the time being. We can have a look at that later. You get all my best angles this way. Nice to see you, John. Thank you for bringing your peeps into the stream. For those of you not familiar with me, my name is Ben. I have a company called Second Dynasty, and I make 3D printable spaceships in a sort of 28mm scale. Of course, it being 3D, you can rescale it to whichever scale you want, provided you have a big enough printer. And here on my screen, to this way, you see a copy of Autodesk Maya with my latest Starship, the Sleipnir, which is a sort of hard sci-fi design, heavily inspired obviously by The Expanse. I think you can see that very much in the design. I've actually used this prototype to play the Expanse RPG, and it was very, very fun. It's quite a large ship. You can sort of see the full build behind me here. And let's see, I think I can switch to a larger camera there. And you can sort of see in the background the ship. Oh, let's have a look. That's the last ship, the Chimera there. I've still got a camera there. We've got the crew down here. Oh, sorry. I don't have very good balance on my hands, and this camera's shit, so maybe I won't show you that so long. But yeah, you can see the ship here, down the base, going up, right to the top, and that's about 80 centimeters, 82 centimeters all in all. Let me get this back on me so you have to look at my mug, and let's just adjust this slightly so you can see a little bit more. And let's get back to my Maya thing. So let's see. Welcome, guys. It's nice to see a few familiar faces from our Discord. The Discord links, Zorima's having a well-deserved rest today. So if you want, you guys can go to our actual Kickstarter page. Let me get that up, because we do have a live Kickstarter right now. But right down the very bottom of the page, you can see our, all the way down the bottom, we have actually a link to our Discord. So if I copy this and stick it in the chat there, you guys can come join our community. We discuss all things 3D printable starships. We're now in the 9th day of the campaign. We've already raised 327,000 crowns. That's Swedish crowns. You guys will probably see it in your local currencies. And we've already released a ton of stretch goals. The whole campaign is about both the... Hey, didn't I have a camera working on this one last time? There we go. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Doesn't want my camera to come up. All right. Screw it. So, in any case, I'll just talk. You can see me streaming now in the background. So, the stretch goals we've unlocked. This is actually a 3-pronged Kickstarter this time. It's not just a ship. I've done ships in the past and terrain, but this time we've ventured far more into miniatures. So we have a ton of miniatures, 20 in the base set already released, with additional ones in production. So not too bad for, I think the price in, well, it would be here, 125 crowns, that's something like, I want to say $12, something like that. The deck designer is also something that John's developing for me. Oh, hey, Papsicles is here too. Awesome. Papsicles is the awesome, one of our 2 awesome sculptors doing the miniatures. So they've been modeled by, the main crew have been modeled by Papsicles, who does some awesome cyberpunk stuff. You should check out his Patreon. There's also a link down the bottom of the page. And then we also have spacesuits and some other stuff coming up soon that is by the Cult of Pickle. So you can see the miniatures here. They're being painted by David Woods, and they have been printed by Proteus. John in the chat is doing the deck designer. Wow, I've got almost a whole team here at this point. We're just missing Zorima and Pickle, really. So this is what I'm working on at the moment. We've released a ton of stretch goals. Today I thought we'd have a little session where I sit in Maya for the most part. So if you guys want to go and check out the actual Kickstarter, the description's here. But I think I'm mostly preaching to my existing cult at this point in time. So we have since last week unlocked a couple of new stretch goals. So I thought we could actually look at the visualizations we have in Maya. So if I'm not mistaken, since the last one we released the single engine version, so I'm going to need to kill a few layers down the bottom, including the engine thrust. And let's see, we should then activate, I have a little screen on the side here. Let's see, we want the single engine exhaust and we want the single engine version. So this would add a single engine to the bottom of the ship instead of the 5 engines we normally have. This is going to be an inside and outside build. Sorry, I can turn off the engine thrust there so you can actually see a little bit better where the nozzle will be. We'll do a lighting kit for this one as well. We'll probably delve a little bit more into lighting kits next week, I think, when Sorima is back on the show. And so basically my idea is we have these struts here, and I'm going to build these in such a way, hopefully, that they come down a sort of landing gear, and they should clear the engine cone, the exhaust cone. Yeah, we'll be adding a lot more detail. So you see the detail levels on the rest of the ship, obviously. There's a lot more interesting features the closer you get. The better your printer, the more details you can get out of it. These are primarily made for FDM printers, but if you want to have some nice pieces like the RCS thrusters here done on resin. They come out very nice. Yeah, we basically the stretch goals. We just do this visualization version of it, where it's sort of very rough. You can see I haven't added detail here or on the struts, for example. That will come later. The idea is to provide a concept. Okay, the single thruster looks like it won't print on a Prusa Mini. Confirm. I don't know yet. I can check out the volume. It might just fit. Do you know what the print build is on that, John? The Mini's not that small. It is small, but not that small. Right? Isn't it like 6 inches? Get back to me on that one. But I can measure. Let's see. I can build a tool here. I might have to just, we're going to need, I'm going to turn on all so we can get some measurements in. Let's measure the width of this cone. So I want to go create, and then I want to go to measure tools, distance tool there. And basically I'm going to switch this to wireframe, which will take a little while. This is quite a big file, guys. We're hiding a lot of geometry, and it's roughly 3 gig at the moment. So if it pauses for a while, the auto saves will kick in. Okay, so that's 18 centimeters. This is 14 centimeters, 14.3 centimeters wide. So you'll be able to print this all right on a Mini. Which means basically you should be able to print. The question is, the biggest sections are these ones here. And that's probably quite wide, but there is a trick when you've got a smaller print bed, and that's to like take an object on the print bed and rotate it 45 degrees. Let's isolate that. So you go from, say the print bed's here somewhere, and you might have trouble fitting it there, but you can actually just rotate the part like this, and sometimes you can fit it in a smaller space. So that's a trick of the trade. I know you're excited about getting your first printer, right, John? In any case, let's turn that wireframe off, and then right now you can see all these hideous looking controls and things. These are actually the on-scene lighting, so I'm just going to turn off everything and turn back on polygons. So we've just got the geometry of the ship. So that will change, obviously, the shape of the ship. It's going to look a little bit closer to that famous ship in particular, but still not quite an exact clone of it. Like, you'll definitely recognize the shape. It'll definitely feel like you're in the right universe. But yeah, the biggest piece, yeah, well, there you go, John. That's measured off that piece. I can't afford a 3D printer for a little while longer, but hoping to get one sometime after the Kickstarter. Yep, the Kickstarter's a payday for us all. Well, at least you and me, buddy. Right, so the next major one was, I'm going to turn off the single engine again. And I'm going to stick the regular engines back on. So the top, bottom 3 decks of the ship. Again, a lot of people have asked about moving between the levels down the bottom. There's actually a little door here which flips out like so, and a lift comes down. I can demonstrate that later. This version of Maya, I've made it so that the screen's a bit bigger so you can see a bit better, so we don't actually have our animation sort of timeline. So let's look at the next one. The next one is the external. Wait, I've got to double check this. So I will switch back to the Kickstarter page. Let's see, Kickstarter page, and then, oh, that's the pledges. We want to go down to the stretch goals here. Okay, so that was a single engine on the ship. Then we have the placeable lighting. We talked about that in last week's stream. Hey, Zorama. It's a bit late to get on the stream now, so I'll keep it to me right now, because otherwise I have to restart OBS. Zorama is the light king, so he'll be doing a light kit for the extra engine, and we're looking at doing light kits for our past ships as well. And guys, actually on the chat we've been discussing modifications. Technically, you know, it's against the rules to repost any remixes of my meshes, but we're talking about maybe having some ability to have some kind of community share zone in the future, so that when people want to modify the ships, as long as they're not making a profit off it, we can direct people to where they can get these alternate parts. And obviously, as long as you're still going to require the base ship. So yeah, the next one was these standard turret ports. And for them, we actually, well, let's hit Maya back up again and open this up. Wait. Oh, Maya is currently saving. You can see right down the bottom there's a little status bar there with the 99%. So until that hits, I can't actually get in. There's another Discord link for you guys to our Discord channel where we discussed all this. And is Maya finished? No, it's not. I actually have a second copy of Maya open. There we go. It's back again. So I can actually move things around. So let's turn this channel on and have a look at the turret compatibility pack. So we've added some new pieces so that you can add more conventional turrets. In fact, we're going to be looking at some more conventional turrets later in the session. I've actually been working on something a little special that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about. I know the Expanse hard sci-fi style of ship is not everyone's cup of tea, even if I think it's been a really cool project to work on. A lot of people, play Star Wars or other science fiction that uses artificial gravity, has a more traditional horizontal layout. So we wanted to add back some cross compatibility with our past ships. So I've sort of remixed this turret here and weapons so that we have something that kind of fits. It looks like some kind of auto turret, but not quite as hip or cool as, well, come on, let's go back to classic so we can see this. A little less space here, but we do have our PDCs, our point defense cannons, animatable, so they pop out. This will just be a permanent turret that sits on the side of the ship. You can kind of see most of the new parts here. So let's just go back to the expert mode there so you can get a better image. So we're going to have multiple sections where you can place the turrets. It is kind of a brick ship, but as you can kind of see in the background there, Gamer Growth, the tiles actually look really good painted. So you don't really notice them that much. This isn't as clear. We've got some imager pictures up, linking off the Kickstarter page. And so it will include this new turret as a part of the stretch goal. We'll have more than just these two placements, but this single sort of placement will be able to fit it in most levels of the ship, have a tile that fits that size. So yeah, that's the turrets one. And then coming up, what I've been working on this week, obviously things have slowed down a little bit, but I think they might pick up over the weekend. We should get some more stretch goals unlocked by the end of it. And then, of course, the final stretch, there's going to be a ton unlocked. Usually people drop almost as much as the first day on the last 48 hours, if not a little bit more. So we should be able to breach quite a few stretch goals there for both the minis, the ship, and deck designer. So John will have a bit of work to do. We'll keep him employed for a while. So the next section, we're actually going to kill the PDCs and the turret compatibility one. Because, not everyone wants an armed ship. And there's not a ton of internal cargo. So the most recent one we're adding is actually external cargo pods. So these are frames. I need to test print these, but they're more or less at a testable state. So this transforms the ship into a sort of cargo container. This reminds me a little bit of Star Citizen for some reason. I think it's because some of the ships on that have these sort of container sections. So we have modular cargo. These cargo crates were premiered on... sorry, there's a bit of noise outside. They were premiered in the last Kickstarter. I might do a little bit larger ones as well. Makes you think about the Belter cargo ships. Yeah, I mean, like, you need all kinds of transportation, right? And this literally each one of these essentially doubles the size of the cargo hold that is pre-existing, because there is some room in there, but not a huge amount. And so I've made these slots. I don't know if you can immediately tell, but I've also made some smaller thrusters. Normally we have sets of 2, and you'll be able to slot them into these positions here for a little bit of extra maneuverability, because I do realize that these do block where the RCS thrusters would be projecting propellant, right? So we need some alternatives. I may even do a version or 2 of these where we've closed off 1 or 2 of the sections. Just stick boxes onto the sides. Yeah, that's essentially what we've done. But since these are modular, they clip apart like so. Hang on, got the wrong snaps on here. So you can see they use these open lock clips that just slot in here. What I really need to test is the weight limits to see how well it bears the cargo. So that will be something to prototype. But we could potentially swap these out against a larger sort of gas tank or a larger. I would like to do a larger style crate where it's big enough to get miniatures in, because these are designed to fit within a 2x2 inch sort of slot. Can the cargo frames just be 1x2 instead of 2x2 cargo pods? You mean just have one on the outside? So like 1/2 like this? Kind of. I haven't designed them that way, but it wouldn't be too hard to do like a version of this where essentially it just snaps at the edge. Because I imagine you mean just like this by itself, essentially, on the sides. We'd want something to close it up, but that wouldn't be too hard to implement. I sort of left the tops off for now. I don't know if we'll put a lid on them or something, but just to make it easier to access at the table. So yeah, it wouldn't be too hard to do a modification that sort of does that, Brasveen. Alright. Johnny's back from cleaning up the sink. He's a do-gooder, John. He's one of the good ones, as he would himself say. I'm not as good. I like to swear. I'm a little too... I went to Catholic school, so I learned how to swear young. And in Australia, no less. So, we like to throw the C word around as a, instead of an insult, it's more like a friendly thing. Alright, so this is the Sleipnir as it stands today with the stretch goals. Now, when we got this wonderful ship behind me painted, that was Brian Jenkins who did that. He's an awesome bloke, lives in the UK, does amazing stuff himself, and he painted up the Pathfinder, which was our last ship. We had the Chimera, which is the one I pointed to before, that's right next, right here on the table. It's a little bit longer than the Sleipnir horizontally than it is tall, but not by too much. I think you might actually get more internal volume out of this because of the way the decks are stacked. But yeah, he did this awesome paint job of the Pathfinder, which was a variant of the Chimera, which was meant to be smaller. And it was so well done, I couldn't help but get in touch with him and say, hey, do you have any interest in painting up the Sleipnir? And he agreed, and did the exterior of the ship. We were a bit on a time budget. And originally we discussed what kind of payment there would be, and in the end we agreed on me actually doing some modifications to the Pathfinder, which I thought I would also make available to you guys. Probably throw it in as one of the add-ons or as an upgrade kit or something like that, but it will probably be included in the all-in. No, it will be included with the all-in pledge no matter what. So I thought we'd go and have a look at the modifications he wanted done, because, you know, the turrets is actually the right theme for today. Now let's see, what do you think about adding a heat shield at the bottom of the cargo crates to avoid burning up during re-entry? I can't see how you would deliver that cargo to a planet, if I'm being perfectly honest. Um, they would get torn off the ship, I'm quite sure. So this kind of cargo would be space only. Um, yeah, that would complicate things, I think. Not to mention, I'm also worried about them falling off the side of the ship, technically when they're printed. So I'll have to have a think about that. I imagine that the cargo crates are made from ceramic and are their own heat. They're probably protected to some degree. Now that's thinking with portals. Okay, right. Let's switch over. I need to just find which display capture we're on. Window capture, I think we're on. There, and I want to switch to the other Maya, which is here. Alright. So, those of you familiar with it will probably notice the Pathfinder here. Only there's a lot of crap on here, and I've got to click OK. So the Pathfinder is a smaller version of the Chimera, and we actually have done some modifications to the nose and top. The Pathfinder didn't come with any armament standard, and Brian, he's really inspired by kind of Second World War bomber design and the cool turrets they have on them. So that's what we have been working on. We've changed the nose and added a viewport and underside turret, and I think you guys should be able to see if I just animate this. There's a few things going on. We can kind of see that there's something going on inside the ship as well, and that's because if I can actually select this and zoom in a little, there's actually a guy in here. So the idea is that this will rotate with the turret, so you'll actually be able to see your miniature moving along with it. Really cool feature. So you can thank Brian for that one. And then the second one is a dorsal turret. And this is very much the same thing. All of our turrets in the past, you can see the base ones here. This came out with the scout ship all the way back in Starship 2 when we did the very basic version. Yeah, okay, it seems like you guys kind of might be enjoying this development. There was a good reaction on the forums as well. Sorry, on the Discord. You can see here the old turrets. I do have some detail, but they're not designed really to actually get miniatures into. You can see that in the inside they're just empty. So even if you printed them in clear resin, it wouldn't be the perfect solution because there'd be nothing to see on the inside. Every ship I get a little bit more detailed, so this is definitely the most detailed turret yet. So it does, I have briefly animated it as well. So you can see that it's sort of like, it does this covering fire. You should be able to hit a 360 by 180 arc coverage. So that's like 1/2 of the entire ship. And of course, this uses a standard turret connection. I actually have done also a modification of the standard turret. And I've got to turn off the vertex lock. This slows things down a little bit. And I'm wondering if maybe I close off my the other Maya, it might free up some memory. So if I just oh god, I did it again. Sorry guys. If I isolate this, the main principal difference is we've just gone up a little bit further here, so it covers the open lock ports. So it's not as depressed as the original one was, which is that's a large turret. I don't think we ever done that. So you could still conceivably use these other turret ports on it if you want to do additional versions of this. So let's just move this back into place. There we go. So I thought I would show that off. and even just for Brian to check out. Hopefully, I don't know if you'll see it on YouTube or something, but we do have these nice windows. Um, and guys, this turret, I actually just got this off the printer a few moments before we went live. So this is a test print. You can see of that turret. I have some stuff to figure out. God, my camera really sucks. Hard to get a hold of cameras these days, though, for some funny reason. It's like everyone's trying to use Zoom or something. But yeah, so that's the new turret. And I'll probably, well, not probably, I have separate windows. So if you want to print them, either you can leave them clear and access the mini directly, which I usually do on mine, or you can, get on a resin printer or something nice and print out the glass and sort of glue it into place, is the idea. We'll see how that goes. It still needs to be prototyped. I've made the guns a bit smaller, but the slots are still the same size, so it should take any of the guns we put out that fit these. Is there enough room for a belly gun? There is. We are doing stuff with the belly. One of the other modifications is adding a forward ramp. I need to figure out a few more things with this ramp. Because the ground level is here. You can also see out here we have some armored landing gear. That's also from one of our backers all the way in Starship 2 when I was still doing commissions. They got in touch a while back and said, hey, I still got a commission. Is it cool if you do it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, I want to make it for the Chimera. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he wanted these armored panels over the landing gear to protect them from small arms fire and whatnot, which makes some sense. So yeah, that'll also be a modification. Need bomb bay racks with a belly door, perhaps. Oh, I need to show you the screen, guys. Sorry about that. I do that all the time. So yeah, there is the ramp down here that we're working on. I need to figure out exactly where which parts are going to figure out what's happening under there. And here is that accordioned landing gear I was talking about. So you can see it's sort of getting to be something interesting. And ultimately what I was going to do is release these. I haven't put it up yet, but there's supposed to be the transport version of the Chimera, which I call the Pegasus, which is a part of the campaign. I can switch briefly over to the Kickstarter page and find that. It should be under add-ons. Oh, wait, the mouse is a little misbehaving. Add-ons here. So this is the Starliner. It's another version of the Pathfinder. I really wanted to illustrate this time around the power that deck design is going to give us with these parts. So you're probably seeing like maybe 10% of new parts, repurposed stretch goals and whatnot in these ship variants. But the idea being that you guys should have the ability to do, the whole Lego set thing with Deck Designer and actually make your own variants with the modular parts. All right. So back to Maya. I really am liking the profile of this, but I will be doing a version of the ship. It won't have the VTOL guns. It will have that tri-engine configuration like the Pegasus. I was thinking of calling it the Cerberus, since I'm thinking of, well, not thinking, it's going to be like a patrol ship instead, a small patrol ship, but it'll have the the forward turrets and a couple more guns, and then we were also discussing perhaps having torpedo launchers up here, which I know a few people would like, and of course you could mirror that and put it on the bottom of the ship. Let's see. Yeah, deck design make right is going to be a godsend. It's already looking good. We were hoping that we'd have a release this week. Might be a couple more days early next week, because I know John ran into some issues. But the idea is that we should have a demo that you guys can access and download, where you will actually be able to see the Sleipnir at least, deck by deck, and see what it would look like. It won't be fully featured, but it'll have most of them in place. Alright, I'm already getting a dry throat. Been coughing like nothing lately, but I think it's just dust and the time of year, nothing COVID related. So yeah, what I thought we could do is just take this last half hour to actually do a work session. Obviously, I'm going to spend a lot longer than a half hour getting this to work, but I thought we would appeal to the chat, and there are 3 areas we can work on. One area is the turret design here. I like it, but I want to repurpose this chair so that it's actually able to move up and down into the ship, sort of like so that the seat moves down to the level below or back up again, so that the chair. If you guys have ever seen like one of the dorsal turrets, like on a bomber from the 40s or 50s, this is what I'm sort of talking about. But they kind of like stand. It's almost like a periscope sort of position. So we'd want to repurpose the gunner seat, right? Yeah, that's exactly it, Make Right. The position at the moment isn't the position that I'd want it to be, because either the seat can rotate, but not that much, and we need it to be able to clear our hole here completely, because this standard turret port size we don't want to change because we've had it on all our ships, and that's not something we really want to update without thinking a lot about. That's the first area we can work on, doing that seat. I won't get very far with that in half an hour, just so you guys know, but we can get your input and discussion. Second option, we have the turret in here. If I turn off the lighting, let's see, you guys can see more clearly that there's a guy on a seat in here, and we need to work on actually mounting the turret to the bottom of the ship, maybe doing some detailing on the hull here. That's like option number 2. Option number 3 is to work on our armored feet, and option 4 is to work on the ramp system. So I would like you guys to start voting. So I'll type it out. 1 turret. Let's see, no, dorsal turret. Dorsal turret. 2 forward turret. 3 is the accordion. I don't know how to spell that. And it doesn't think it's a word. Accordion armor. Landing gear. And 4 is the underside ramp. So go ahead and vote for your favorite that we should work on. Oh, so far the 4s have got it. Let's see. You can't vote twice, John. Oh, the 2s might have it. Oh, another 4. Oh. So far I'm reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes for 4. Or adding extra decks to the Sleipnir. We could do that potentially next week. That's a good one too, but it's I've closed that Maya file, so we'll stick to this scene. Okay, Aura 3. Let's see. What do we got? It must be pretty close between the 2s and the 3s. Wow, lots of you on there today. Let's see. So let's see. The 4s we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 2s we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 3s we have 1, and the 1s we have. So it looks like the ramp is the winner, unless we have some dark horses at the end that can boost that number 2 up. So yeah, the ramp is something you guys have been excited about. What I'm going to do is actually kill a couple of these layers here on the side, so that we have, let's see, we'll take off, yes, the ramp wins. We're going to take off these upper levels, basically so we can see inside. Now, Brian has shown me the configuration he's using, and he doesn't have any of the, if you guys might recall, we had some cryo pods, these cryo pods here, we're sort of lining the bottom of the ship here. Traditionally, you enter through the back here, so quite possibly we would rethink this sort of ramp design and maybe free up some space in here. I'd probably also rip this piece out from the Pegasus version that we had on the Kickstarter page here, because it also has a forward ramp, but it also has a sort of wider cargo bay draw. Let's see. So let's see. Sad turret noises. Yeah, I know. I love the turrets. They'll get done. It's just they won't get done on stream. And anyway, we can't do much with 20 minutes. So John always gets his way. Well, to be fair, there was a vote, so there was some democracy involved there, Professor. I'm going to need a resin printer for all the clear windows. I really need to get mine working. I've never made it work. It took a while to make those fake Twitch accounts. Oh, right, yeah. John, up to mischief again. Oh, that's how you got so many viewers on your stream. Sorry, mate. That might have been a low blow. Alright, so the issues we have with this ramp that we need to accommodate. A couple of things. For one thing, at the moment, the way that this is set up, there's not a good floor plan here for getting over to the turret if you were actually landed. And then there's also maybe a case to be made for sealing off this section so that there's a doorway there. Because if you're in the front turret here and that gets hit, do you really want to depressurize your whole cargo bay as well? Or vice versa. You land on a place without an atmosphere, you need to guard it with some turret support. And do you depressurize everything? I realize these guys are in suits, but they don't necessarily have to be. Alright, fake bot accounts is the American way. Dark combat. Yeah, my resin printer is hit and miss as well. I'm afraid of the chemicals blue. That's the biggest thing for me. Let's see. I'm seeing. Wait, do I have some dust on the camera too? I think I had a bit of dust on the camera. Alright, let's see. That is slightly better. Alright, I want TPK a total party kill if I'm going to die. Yeah, yeah, right. You have time until next week to make a few thousand more, John. The Chimera very clearly was not meant to be a battleship, so I would love a strange retrofit solution. I want it to look like wartime changes to Chimera, not something super elegant. There are a lot of people trying to petition me to turn the Chimera into a carrier. I'm afraid of going bigger than the Chimera for two reasons. One, I know that there's a lot of love for it, but I don't know what the numbers actually are because I feel it might be a bit too big for the table. Like the Chimera is almost 1 meter long. It's 3 feet long. Two, the structural stability of the ship without glue barely holds together as it is. I've built it in such a way that it can hold together, but it's very much like you move something on one end of the ship, something on the other end of the ship might lose its grip. So we want to kind of to keep it. Oh, bye Zaroma. Thanks for joining us, mate. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be very, very heavy. It requires a lot of plastic, and I think I'd rather achieve it using mods so I think maybe deck designer is the solution. Like if that's something that the community wants, the idea would be that you guys come up with a sort of like base layout and figure out what's missing, and then we can look at it as a sort of upgrade pack sort of thing, if that makes sense. That might be the way to tackle it, because I think for a lot of people, they might not want to buy Cole Hertford. Yeah, we might not want to have a ship that, you know, you have to put a 10 kilos of plastic into, because that's obviously going to be expensive as well. But it all depends, you know. You guys do whatever you want to do. It's just, it needs to make business sense as well. You're fixing bad CSS. Oh, that is fun. I started my career in web development back in the late 90s, and I don't miss it, if I'm being honest. But we didn't even have CSS in the beginning. It came slightly later. All right, so yeah, the challenges to the ramp. The biggest one I feel is actually the hull on the underside. You can see here we're missing a 1 by 2 inch gap. I don't have the lighting on at the moment because this is just going to put shadow here. So everyone can make their own personalized version. Well, yeah, that's the whole purpose of Deck Designer, really. So you can customize it, have the Lego sort of approach. You'll do mobile dev in the future. Fun. I'm really happy that I get to do spaceships all day, to be honest. So yeah, we need a way to fix this gap. And we need a way to, like, if we look at this, we kind of need to halve this section here. In fact, I'm going to just do a very simple, we're going to do a detach operation that's going to separate the edges here. So hopefully if I go to faces and select, I get 1/2 or the other half. And here I'm going to go mesh. Ooh, do I dare to separate it? Let's see. It follows, so it's still its own object. But I think we need to make something that sort of, let's see, I need to get my tools out here. So in another window, which you guys can't see, I just have my, I can actually attach the outliner so you guys can see it. There we go. So this is sort of like a log of all the files in the scene. There's a hell of a lot more in these groups. But this part in particular is hidden. Where is it? Should be a blue line here somewhere. Oh, there it is, in group 52. Alright, pasted from the Pegasus. Okay, so this and this are the two halves. So the problem is if I delete history on these, which I kind of want to do. Oh, they stayed in the group. Excellent. So if I set the grid, and sometimes when you see the mouse moving around but I'm not pointing to something in particular, it's because there's like a sub window up because I'm not sharing my screen. So what I'm actually doing is just setting up the grid so you can see now it's snapping to the grid. And I'm going to just duplicate this, rotate it around, just so we can get a good idea about what we want to cover. And then let's look at the animation again. Okay, now this is attached, so we want to get this out of the attachment so it stays with the ship. We can see this is sweeping through there. And we're going to have another issue here because we really want this to fold up so that you can get people out. Now, I have measured this, but we can kind of see the miniature for scale if we... these are rather polygon heavy, but if I duplicate this, drop it out of the hierarchy, and just drop it down below, so you guys can see the scale. There's not a ton of clearance, but at scale this should be roughly about 2.4 meters. So I don't know if you'll get a standing miniature, but technically at scale it should be all right. So let's see. I think the deck designer solution is the best. I think everyone is looking at the idea of a carrier and go, oh my god, yes, but I also think that everyone has different ideas as to what a carrier would look like. I 100% agree. And then the second thing too is, obviously, the most interested people are the ones that get actively engaged in the Discord, in the comments on Kickstarter, on Facebook. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of other people that are like, oh, that's quite an investment to get that to work, you know. So I still want to make a lot of my work accessible for, you know, if you can get a ship for $20 or $30 and you can build a massive thing. With but also, like, I also take into consideration the amount of plastic you have to buy to build it, because, like, yeah, sure, the Sleipnir, it costs, if you just want the ship, like 300 crowns, it's like $34, but uses about 5 kilos of plastic, and that's about $100 worth of plastic, unless you're getting, really, if you've got a great deal, which we do, on the Kickstarter page. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's there's got to be a balance. Um, for the turrets, I'd like to see them fit over standard do-it-yourself ornament balls. Okay. I don't know that we'll be supporting that. Mostly because I don't know what size they are, and I design everything in Maya, so um, we'll let's see. Do you need a mini door in front that opens first? Um, what I'm thinking is that what we need is to grab this piece as well. Um, and we want to go like, where are we? We want to get this out and stuck next to that. So now that this won't come down with the ramp, but we've got some clearance issues, right? So we need to do something with this that sort of accordions. Essentially, I think we want something that'll make this go like down like that, and this up like that, sort of. So, and I don't know either if that's a right pattern. Maybe we want it to be like so. Like, that'll look better. So we might need a hinge here. And if we look at it from the other side, the other challenge we've got, we can actually flip this lid quite a bit here. A carrier parts packs instead of a whole ship sounds ideal. Yeah, cool. So yeah, we need something here so that this can, basically this will have to go down like so, swing down, and this will have to swing up. So just to demonstrate, what I'm going to do is just very briefly move the pivot points of these so you guys get the idea. So that what would happen in theory is, and I'm just going to do a very, here we go, saving again. At least this file isn't as big. Okay, so it's saved already. So we want this one to come down like so, and this to sort of move up like so. But then I think we're still going to have issues with clearance. So we want this to sort of like come down and then flip back up, if that makes sense. So that, like, when it's ready to load, this moves up into this position. So you aren't going to be able to access the turret as easily while this is happening. Let's see. I think that's the plan after the community goes, this is what we want a carrier to look like, and we're missing these specific parts. Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds. I don't have to do as much work. You guys can do some studies, make some designs that could be like, I like the idea, and not to mention it makes business sense to basically make stuff that the community wants to get, right? I want to, at the end of the day, I want to make a product that people want to buy. So basically we're going to need a hinge like this, and we're going to need to stick it here. So I'm going to drop that. Let's get the animation back here. Let's we'll start with another copy of the ramp here. I don't think this one will be animated, right? No. So essentially what I want to do is rotate this. Obviously we're going to change all of this out. But we want to come here somewhere, like so. And we essentially want a shorter version of this. All this nonsense. Okay, but that's carrying a ton of stuff on it. This is not a 20-minute job, guys. It's not. It's not a 5-minute job, which is about the time we've got left. So I'm probably going to be spending the afternoon doing this, but basically we want to repurpose these print in place joints because let's see what would happen. First, we don't need that. We don't need that. And we also don't need this. Ish. Let's leave that for now. Oh, sorry. So the idea being, if we come back here and we move the timeline along, that this would be, this can come all the way down like so, or it can also go up like so. That's another option. But it also needs to work in conjunction with this ramp, obviously. So it might be on a lower level though, because we can actually put it in the hole here. But even so, it would change like the overhead amount we have there. So it's confusing. All right. The other option is we move. Well, for one thing, this ladder wheel's going, or at least can go. So we could potentially move this out. Let's rotate this. Move that back. Because our other option is to make the ramp actually start just a little bit earlier. So let's see, we want to move the whole group here. What's it animated from? Where's the animations going? That's this one. Oh, but it doesn't. Okay, so it's this one. So if we move this back here, we just create this little bit more room. We'll have to modify this part so it's got like a little slope to it. And oh, but then there's even more we have to get rid of. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right, so ramp down, ramp up. But it buys us that little bit of space that we want. So really this thing needs to be half the size of, all the sections need to be halved essentially. So let's just cut out the middle bits. Oh, there's so many things here to get rid of. Let's see. All right. All right. And we'll do something similar here. So really I'm just gutting out the base design so that we're left with the hinges, which is what we want. So we want all of that nice print in place geometry to stay with us. The only thing is we need to align this to the grid. So I think that should be half. I think. I don't know. Let's go back a level and we'll see what it's like to move this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that really 4? Let's see. Could you have an outer hatch instead of that closes under the ramp? Not following that one. Can you describe it a bit more? Opening inwards makes more sense than outwards for the front hatch, that is. Yeah. Let's see. So I was worried about this. I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, if I move this to this section, I know that to that is 1 inch. So that's. Is that right? Feels wrong. I mean, it's right at the limit there and there. So there's the start, there's the second one. And we've gone half an inch there. Alright, I see why it's confusing. Let's just move this forward again so that it's all aligned. And we'll just animate this down so that we're left with this section. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, basically the end of this should be about the end of there. So that seems to make sense at the moment. Yeah. And then I'm basically just gonna, like, whoops, I don't want to take that out completely. I want to look in the ramp here to get this last piece. Ramp end, and basically we want to take this up a level. So ramp start. This is all a mess. This is not how you're meant to do it. For anyone out there learning Maya, basically want to get this back to somewhere. It would be technically a little bit closer, I think. I don't know. Feels slightly misaligned still. Probably because of the way it's just set up. The point is we're just trying to look and see how this would work. Then that's got to be there. And we're going back a tad. And we're having something in the base. We could have it down here instead. That might be a better thing. I feel like I'm going to be pulling my hair out about this, and we're out of time. Let's see. What about instead of a ramp, a drop-down section on hydraulic columns? That has been suggested before. The reason why it's not a good idea here is because with a ramp, yeah, we have like just around about 2 meters of clearance. I can conceivably see you getting cargo up there, or decent sized cargo up there rather. If you're going to have a piece of the hull that comes down, we have 1/4 inch thick floors, and B, we have 1/4 inch thick hulls. So you're going to end up with a 1/2 inch, which is 1.5 meters. No, sorry, not a meter. It's 75 centimeters, which is going to leave you with like 1.20 meters or something, like 4 feet. So that's unfortunately one of the issues. The only other thing we could do is raise the landing gear so it's a little bit higher, but I don't think it's worth it just for this. I think we can do this combination ramp thing. I think that'll be the best way to do it. Straight up and down cargo lift instead of ramp, like in Alien, or maybe 1 inch wide swing down a ladder instead of ramp. Well, I mean, the point is cargo though. If you want to get cargo up, you could potentially have a lift where it has like an airlock that opens and then the lift comes down. That may be more doable, but would require a significant amount of engineering. You know what? I'm going to play with this for the next hour or so. I'm going to have to do it off stream because my throat is not built for talking to myself all day. But yeah, we're going to work on this. We're going to get out this new turret. I hope you guys are excited for this option for the Chimera. So this would be included with the all-in pledge, which means the entire ship would be when we do the finished modified ones. But it's not going to be quite the same layout as this. There's going to be more turrets on the side. I'm thinking goes anti-cruiser style or Republican cruiser style. So that's kind of like the inspiration I'm thinking. So we might go a bit flanged at the side. And I might look back into those hull extensions and see if I can't demonstrate how they're supposed to work. So thanks guys for joining me today and putting up with me solo. Again, the Kickstarter, we've got the Kickstarter here. We've already had in the chat the actual the Discord channel we usually communicate on. We've also got, seconddynasty.com. We've got Facebook groups. Check out the base of the Kickstarter page for all our social media stuff. Sorry, the graphics suck, but on Kickstarter they don't really let us do multi-link graphics or tables or that sort of thing. So this is what we've got to work with. So yeah, you can find those links there to follow us. It's much appreciated. If you guys do like our stuff, especially the ship, the Kickstarter, I'd appreciate you guys sharing it. If you know of a forum that does 3D printing, or a Reddit, or anywhere else where you'd like to share the ship, please do. Get a dialogue going. I'm open to everything, really. And yeah, basically, the more that we guys get pledged into the campaign, the more goodies we get, the more stretch goals get unlocked, and the more ships I get to design. So ultimately, I'm getting to live the dream thanks to you guys, but hopefully you also enjoy the work. And I really feel like with the advent of deck designing, we're going to bring the community even closer and start seeing, you guys with the talent could potentially design modified parts yourself that fit in with it. So, yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Thanks to Zorima, thanks to John, Papsicles, Pickle, Hunters, Mikia, Lieslot. I feel like I might be leaving someone else. Oh, yes, Brian for the wonderful paint job in the first place and the inspiration for these modifications. And we'll be back next week, if nothing else, at the same Second Dynasty time, same Second Dynasty channel. So, bye, guys.